last time we were working on this, we got the motor mount installed it up and the engine dropped in. I was working on the radiator support here with the intercooler and the transmission cooler. I got this all welded up, tacked together, and it's hooked up to the frame on the bottom here, so this will be able to be its own unit. You'll be able to take the whole front end apart and still have the radiator in place. I'm very pleased how it fit.
There you can see it's welded. This is welded directly to the frame.
Yeah, the radiator sits just in this square tubing. I was able to use the original Dodge bushings there from the radiator. I'm very, very pleased how everything fit. I'm able to use the original fan. That just helps out with you know, one extra relay that we don't have to worry about. Temperature switches for all of that, it's just plain and simple. So next I'll have to do a fan shroud around it, or maybe it'll work as it is. Probably not super safe, but I'll figure that out later. Yeah, just little finishing details.
It's a Cummins in a Camaro.
Oh, yeah, it's not
safe.
It's not safe. But yeah, no, so this is pretty much finished now. At least I understand how it's all gonna fit together. I still gotta figure out some of the piping for the intercooler. A lot of this stuff, it just bolts right in place, so I'm actually very pleased how everything lines up.
It's amazing that the rad hose is like perfect.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about reusing the Dodge radiator that went with this engine. It's the hoses are pretty much right where they need to be. I will have to do a little bit of work with the bottom hose here. Just the way it sits on the frame, the bends and everything, it doesn't quite work. I got this 90 degree here, and I'm gonna need to find another one to piece together an adapter that fits with that. Upper one works at least, which is the more complicated of the two. So that's just a lot less hassle to worry about. Intercooler piping, it's close, but it's definitely gonna need some modification. This one needs to bend around and then inwards, like the other one on the Dodge used to just be a straight line to where it needed to go. This grid heater sits a little bit too high to fit under the hood. This part will interfere right there, so that just shows you how tall this engine really is sitting inside this car, even with the 3-inch spacers on the frame there. So this 2-inch piece is gonna have to come off. I was looking at it, and it looks like I can just put shorter bolts in and just take that part out. I don't see why that wouldn't work, so that's what I'm gonna go and try.
I don't think you're gonna be driving this thing in minus 30 anyways, so
no, and even,
like, you don't need a grid heater in it.
No, even these Cummins engines, they start, unless it's really cold, you're gonna have problems, and you could plug it into the block heater and it'll probably help, but you know, at least it's not a power stroke or something like that won't start once it gets cold. Ooh! No, just kidding, they're great too. The only concern I have at this point is how the springs will work with all the extra weight. So we're about to test that out now. Haven't really had it on the ground yet, so we'll see how it works.
So how much does the Cummins weigh? I think it weighs like 1,100 pounds.
It weighs about 1,100 pounds with the transmission, about 900 on its own, I think. The heaviest engine that a stock Camaro would have would maybe be like 550 to 600, depends on what bolt-on accessories, like a supercharger or whatever you have on there, maybe around 600. So 900 pounds for just the engine alone, that's quite a bit of extra weight. That's like a big redneck sitting on your hood when you're driving down the highway. So
I think we're totally gonna bottom out those springs, but
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, let's give it a test.
Ooh. I think you're squishing the bump stops a bit.
That's sitting right on the ground. That's not gonna work at all. That's right on the bump stops. That's not even kind of gonna work.
No.
That's it, I'm drinking. So I was anticipating the weight of the engine would be a little bit of a problem. I knew the extra weight, you know, would cause issues with the, I didn't realize that it was gonna be that much sagging. Instantly went to the bump stops. These springs that are on it now, these are special racing springs. It's meant for like a lightweight application. These springs have a spring rate of about 215 pounds per inch, so that's not nearly enough. A factory Camaro of this era would be about 350 pounds per inch. So these are even lighter than what you would find on an original Camaro. These are about the weakest ones that you can get. They're good for some applications, but not for a Cummins swap Camaro. So what I've got here is Moog part number 5662. These are springs that fit in an S10 or a Camaro. They have similar dimensions, so it'll work as well. These springs have a rate of 748 pounds per inch. So that just means it has 748 pounds of like back pressure for every 1 inch that it compresses. So these springs are about 4 times as strong as what we've got in there now. So I'm hoping that these work, because otherwise there might be some 1100 pound per inch springs I can get, but those I'll have to get a spacer for those as well. I'm really hoping these will work. I think they will. Let's find out. I just got one of these ball joint separator tools. I've never actually used one of these before, so I'm kind of excited to try it out.
Let's have a look at that. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. So, let me just give it a tap on there, get it seated nice maybe. If I was smart, I'd maybe look at the instructions. I'm only just guessing, but we'll see how it works. Well, that's easy. I like that. Nice. So good use of 35 bucks I spent on this thing. I like it. Okay. I don't think I did that the right way, but that's the old spring. Let's compare it to the new one. Okay, so here's the new one, and this is the one that we just took out. You can see the new one's a lot thicker, but you compare them, and this new one that we're putting in is actually a little bit shorter. But that's that should be fine. That's kind of what I'm expecting, but that's because this will compress a lot less than this one will. The ride height might actually be higher when it's all done. Yeah, we'll see how this goes.
So we got this spring in.
Yeah, just getting the ball joints and the rod ends put back together. Went in not bad.
That's not bad at all.
Hoping this will solve our problem. Nah.
Torque down to 3 ugga-duggas.
Oh yeah, that'll be plenty. That will be plenty. Oh no. Well. That's not good.
What gives? I thought that was the stiffer flavor.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I don't think those are gonna work.
Well, that's just one of them. I wanted to see if just one of them would keep the other off the ground without this side hitting the bump stop. That one we haven't put on yet. We ran out of time. But hopefully it sits right when both of them are on.